Hi everyone, this is my first edition of Restaurant Stories, and I'm going to talk about my very first restaurant job, which dates back 27 years, October 1993, when I was living in Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, University City. How I learned about this restaurant was when my father was the shuttle driver for a real estate company in West Philadelphia. I'm not going to be with some specifics about that. I won't be talk about much, but who was the owner and the company name. It doesn't. That's irrelevant. But when my dad was a shuttle driver for the University of Pennsylvania students, one particular student, I wish I knew I wish I could remember a lot of names. A few names I do remember. She was a good girl, really tall girl. Apparently, she was an associate manager. I'm not sure if she was general manager or not, but she was talking to my father on the shuttle van that they were looking for technically what you would call today dishwashers, prep, portioning and prep people. And I was kind of bored that I was out of high school, oh man, three years, I guess. But, I was partially working for the real estate company. I was raised in the maintenance division with my father, my mother. And sometimes, some things weren't, happening a lot for me work-wise with that company. But it was a little bit more money for me. It was a chicken takeout, pickup, in-dining, very, very small in-dining place. And the location, I'm not exactly sure of the number. It was either 208 or 210 South 40th. It was Fingers, Wings, and Other Things, owned by a gentleman named Craig Flaxman. He's still around. I made a very vague contact with him on Facebook some years ago. He still has one location on Ridge Pike in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. It's I think it's the only location he either kept or he reopened the new location, but it's been around for a while now. He actually had 4 original locations. The one at that address I just said, it was renovated after 2000, so I'm not sure the exact address exists anymore. There was the original location, or you would call the key location, flag location, was on South Street in Center City, Philly. That was the original main location. But closer to me in University City was the 208 or 210 South 40th Street. I don't know what there is now, because I knew they eventually closed, and he was very upset with it. I learned in a newspaper article he was very upset. University of Pennsylvania took over the entire block property and re-renovated it and practically, in a sense, kicked everybody out. He was very upset because he was making a lot of money in that place. A lot of business took place in that restaurant. Fingers, Wings, and Other Things. And that particular student, or I'm not sure if she was a fellow tenant of ours in the real estate company. I know, or she was a friend of a tenant. That I'm not sure about. I don't remember. She told my father that they were hiring for a bike delivery / prep and cleanup. I took it, and it was at first minimum wage. I think it was minimum wage back then was around 3. Was it 2 or 3? Because eventually I got a raise up to about $4. Minimum wage was so low. Even in the 90s compared to even now. It's 27 years ago. It was a pretty good job. It was for the first time my first restaurant experience, and the one I think the more key thing I did mostly was bike delivery, and I bike deliveried all over. I say all over University of Pennsylvania. That's a little too vast for me to say. The University of Pennsylvania, the Quad. People who know University of Pennsylvania will know what I'm talking about particular parts and buildings. I delivered to the Quad. I delivered to University of Pennsylvania University of Pennsylvania Hospital. I believe Misericordia. I'm not exactly sure that with this one particular hospital toward Market Street. Many of the students, many of the doctors in these hospitals, many at the time, you made quite a bit of tips. You know, there was another bike deliveries made a lot of money in that area, University of Pennsylvania, because one particular guy who worked for Elise Hoagie, oh my God, for years he made a ton of money. From what stories I heard, he made tons. And I think the most money I made out of the bike delivery was about $40 in tips, and I made the girl who was the I don't say closing manager. I wouldn't say manager, but she was counting out the receipts of what was paid for the food, and what was the rest of it was mine. I guess what you would call profit, which I never cared for that word. I ended up with $40 out of the secret receipt of sales. I made her count 3 times. $40? Wow. I typically end up with about $20 to $40 in tips. And I really didn't have much of a personality. I didn't say I was nasty whatsoever. No, I was nice about it. No, I did my job. Just did my job. And ended up between $20 and $40. They would leave over $1 to $5 if the order was order was a $20 order. They would end up putting $25 in. That's how I made it. And chips were very interesting. But in the restaurant, what I did with preparing food, I cut up a whole 5-gallon bucket of chopped up celery for wing dinners, or chicken wing dinners. Top a 5-gallon bucket, about 3/4 of the bucket I would be cutting up celery. I would also mix up a large, I'm not sure how many gallon, a large round trash can, clean trash can, not even a trash bag, of mixed spice powder for the chicken fingers, and sometimes the chicken sandwiches, but mostly it was the chicken fingers. And I ended mixing spices and powder, a large trash can. I'm not sure, it was like 30-gallon trash can of spices. And when that trash can got used up and the powder got so used up, I ended up having to drag it out to a trash can and by the back door pick up some of those tips. Oh my God, that was difficult to pick up those, like about 3, 4, 5 little steps. Because the trash can was kind of heavy picking up, then I had to drag it, and it might have been a trash bag inside, yeah, because they ended up having to dump the trash bag sideways, pull the bag out, throw it into the dumpster. Besides celery, I mixed up the powder for the chicken wings. I think that was all I did for prep. It wasn't much. The mixed powder, the containers of powder for chicken wings, cut up celery, bike deliveries, and the cook people were wonderful. I never really had a nasty or had a really problem with the place with the staff. Not really. And many times it was like 2 of us on bike delivery at times. And that was great having 2 of us. And times I'd walk in, there'd be either no delivery orders. I'd come at 4 in the afternoon, and we close I think at 10. I think 11, like most restaurants, 11, 10. I think we stopped the bike deliveries by 10 o'clock. You wonder why I'm wearing a hat. I'm going to tell you something really amazing. You wonder why all this time I'm talking to. I forgot to mention. I'm going to talk about this hat a little later in the video. This hat is my original. It's very faded. It's my original fingers, wings, and other things hat. Get up a little closer. You can see it's so faded, but I was amazed at some point I discovered I still have my original hat. I think I didn't pull it out, but I still have it in my boxes of my historical paperwork. I still have the original guide, the guidelines of how he operated, how Craig operated the place. Craig Flaxman, the owner, he was a very nice, cool guy. Most owners were pretty cool. He was a pretty cool guy. He's still around, and I made vague contact with him on Facebook. The staff, I remember a couple of guys. One was Butch, I came vaguely close friends. There was this little Asian girl, very nice girl. I can't remember all their names. One other staff member that I really wish I could reunite. I didn't know his real name. I have to describe him. I don't remember his real name. He was a big, heavyset black guy, really kind of obese. Nothing. No offense to people who are like that. His nickname was Junebug. Unbelievably nice guy. A lot of the staff would get fixed sandwiches. I never had to pay. I never had to pay. No. For chicken sandwiches, chicken wings, chicken fingers. No. Maybe I don't remember if it was free food for us or it was just because of me. It was my learning experience, and I got better and better. That out of respect, they gave me free food. Like many jobs eventually did. Junebug or Buggy. No, we called him Buggy. Unbelievably nice guy. I wish I could remember his real name and look him up. He was so cool with the owner, the manager, and staff that if I got the story right, he went down to Louisiana, I think it was, and he was picking up a lot of major spices, hot spices, and he mixed up into the typical hot sauce you put into chicken fingers. And it was so hot, but I guess he got acceptance by, when he made this particular sauce, he got acceptance by management and by Craig, the owner. I think Craig had a brother. I'm not sure the brother was, but I know Craig. I think Craig had a brother. If I remember that story. So I remember some of the stuff, some of that don't. We got permission to sell this sauce on the menu, and today I don't know what some restaurant menus that sell are particular. I don't know if Buffalo Wings sells this or not. It's called suicide sauce. Very hot sauce. It would sell. I think they call it suicide sauce. It was so super hot. He called it buggy sauce. Instead, before I think the name caught on in a lot of restaurants, he called it buggy sauce. I know it sounds weird. Why would you use the word bug in food? No, it was called buggy sauce. He got away with it. It sold. They use it right on the menu. I think today, I'm not sure if it's today terminology, but in the 90s, later 90s, a lot of some restaurant menus called suicide sauce because it would be very super hot sauce. I don't know what today's terminology would be, but we called him Buggy. His nickname was Junebug. It was wonderful staff I worked with. And the food was awesome. Oh my God. It was so memorable. And I don't know if one day if I would ever venture back out to the Norristown area. I did a couple of years ago. The current location is on Ridge Pike in Conshohocken. They wouldn't remember. Craig would probably barely remember me because I didn't last that long at the restaurant. It felt like years. But I lasted 6 months, October 1993 to March 1994. And it was a first experience job as in a restaurant business. Now with current restaurants, they have the dishwashing machine because they're using glassware, glasses, silverware, dishes, and metal prep containers like we did. We only had metal prep containers in that small place in Fingers and Wings. They abbreviated FWOT, F-O-T, like if it's so had it so faded, it would spell F-W-O-T with a chicken. You know what my dishwashing machine was? A 3-base sink with the spigot, the water spigot. I put my thumb underneath the spigot. Well, wearing gloves, but I put my thing and it would spray enough to cover whatever I was cleaning in. That was my original dishwashing machine. My thumb under a water spigot. Yeah, that's those 6 months. And those 6 months, I was surprised when I look back at the dates I was there. And I thought it was a few years. No, it was only 6 months. I also remember that Craig's apparent name, I don't know if he still has the original parent name, because on the paycheck it was called Uncle Chicks. Interesting name. I'm surprised why he couldn't use FWOT Inc. There was Uncle Chicks something Inc. That was on the original page, like as a parent name. You had to be careful. I'm surprised you had to be careful that people don't have multiple can use that name in different states or different counties. At times I would also use my own personal bike for deliveries. I use the bicycle that the restaurant would provide. And I actually remember buying the seat that they had a really lousy bike, the original bike, and I had to buy a new seat. And there was a bike store right almost near us. There was a lot of stores on that 40th Street in University City. There was a lot of particular stores. The bike store was called Bike Line. And those bikes ran in the hundreds, if not thousands. I found that crazy. The bikes would cost that much. My dad bought a $1,000 bike, and they were light as a feather. That's ridiculous that a bike would cost that much. But I went in that store, bought a seat, about 40. I think it was $40. I put some money into that seat, and this other guy was an really older guy in his 40s or 50s, I guess. And I'm 49 now. And I was really young back then. I was just in my early 20s. But there's one guy, they had bike delivery, and it was, I think, barely even a week that I bought this new seat because it was so lousy and faded. For this, it was hard to drive this really bulky kind of bike, and I learned that he took on a delivery, and in just a few seconds the bike got stolen, and I lost that seat. I lost that $40 I paid for that. I was ticked off, so I ended up having to use my own bike, and I bought side fold-out baskets. So motorcycles would have leather cases, strap cases. I have open up baskets for each of my orders. We also had a strap over delivery. A lot of the pizza restaurants have this. It was a large red bag with a shoulder strap. That was difficult. The one thing I also had but the one thing that a lot of people had placed delivery orders. The one thing that was difficult was when it was raining. We didn't have a car. We only had the bike delivery. Man, they got upset, and I canceled delivery. I told them it's raining out. I don't know about bicycles today, but it was difficult. You could not brake. You could not even use, in a regular BMX dirt bike, you can use your pedals to hit the brakes, or with typical handle brakes. These rubber type of brakes that would close in on the tire, it wouldn't work in rain. You still be going like a car without brakes. You'd be sliding. If your car brakes would start, you had a difficult time stopping your car because your brake pads are getting low. Imagine rubber brake pads on regular bicycle tires. It didn't work. I was still sliding. I felt it was dangerous. And I told them to stop deliveries because it was raining, and people got ticked off. I can't have my chicken delivery. I wonder if many restaurants even have bike deliveries anymore. People got ticked off that they couldn't deliver. And speaking of the bike deliveries, it led to the end of my time with Fingers and Wings and other things. This came to an end in March 1994. 4 in the afternoon, I came in. There were 6 delivery orders. Papers lined up on the shelf. I began crying. I went out to the back door for 5-10. I was crying. I think I had a lot of prep. No, I had a pre-prep, and I should have gone in earlier. I don't know why. I got real upset. This is even with 6 months in experience, I was very upset. I had all these orders. Maybe it's the bike delivery really got to me emotionally, physically. It got to me because it takes so much out of you to deliver by bike to such distances. Nowadays they got cars, and I didn't learn to drive a car till I was 29. And I was in my early 20s. I didn't learn to drive because we had 24-hour SEPTA, the buses. And I never learned to drive until I was 29. That's the insurance, car insurance in Philadelphia was incredibly expensive, let alone buy a car. And we had 24-hour SEPTA buses, so I never really learned to drive. walked a road. I rode a bike. And I got real upset. I probably had more deliveries during the shift. I probably had doing how many deliveries I did during a shift. I probably had more than this, but walking into six deliveries before I even get started, and they were making the food. Oh my God, I emotionally lost it. I was crying. The manager was a woman manager, and she's with, and I said, "Tonight's it. I can't do this." I was so crying a storm. I couldn't do this anymore. And she said, "I hear you. Okay." And I said I quit. I don't remember my exact words, but I was done. I was emotionally and physically done. And at least I had the backup of working with the real estate company and the maintenance. I told my father I'm done, and I continued kind of vaguely working as helping out the maintenance staff, whatever we were doing. And I wanted to tell the story of Fingers, Wings, and Other Things. My first restaurant job, October 1993 to March 1994. Till my first job, and my next restaurant job will be not until March 2001. Some years later, as we left Philadelphia, and we purchased a house in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, where the Amish area is. And I might in the next story begin with the story of the hotels. So I want to tell my story of my very first restaurant job back in 1993, 27 years ago. Fingers, Wings, and Other Things. If you like this video, please subscribe, comment, like or dislike, and thank you for watching.